Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be going over the meaning of slope and the y-intercept and what it means. So most of you have, or do remember from last year, and we've talked about this in class, with slope is the rate of change. And when we did some math on our paper wad launches, we did the change in y over the change in x. A lot of you guys know rise over run. Okay, so when we have a table here, we have our x values and our y values. And to calculate that slope, you take two of those points, as you did with the paper wad lunch. So here, I can take point 0.04, and I can take another point. It doesn't matter which one. I can take 2, 8. Not easy to draw with this thing. All right. So to find the slope, we subtract the y's because it's rise over 1, or the change in y and the change in x. So we do 8 minus 4 over 2 minus 0. So that equals 4 over 2, or 2 is our slope. M stands for slope, so we put 2 in here. B stands for y-intercept. And if you look over at our graph here, at 0.04, this is where it intersects the y-axis. So we can just say our y-intercept is 4. Okay? And here's our line. And if we want to do rise over run, you can see from the points, it rises 2 and it runs 1. It rises 2 and it runs 1. And that's how we get the slope of 2. So there's several different ways we can find slope. We can subtract the y's over and subtract the 2's. That's change of y over change in x. Do some math. We can graph it and see the rise over the run. All right, so if we look at the next screen, today, or Wednesday, however, we're going to focus more on what those slope and the y-intercept means. So you're going to be given situations. So here we have Peggy had $4 in her piggy bank, and every day Peggy placed $2 in her bank. So we have to determine which one of these things is the slope and which one is the y-intercept. So we have $4 in her bank, and then every day she places $2 in her bank. So slope is the rate of change. So which one is changing, which one keeps occurring? That would be $2. Every day $2 is going in her bank. So slope should be 2 because that is our rate. And then it says, what is the meaning of slope? Well, the meaning of this slope means that every one day she gets $2 in her bank. So every one day $2 is in the bank. Okay, and that's what the meaning of that slope is. Okay, then when you look at the 4 is she started with $4. Nothing's changing that. She had $4 in there and that was it. So her y-intercept is 4 because she started with 4. So the meaning of that is in the very beginning she started with $4. Nothing, that doesn't change. She's $4 for that day. So her bank started with $4. Okay, so that is the y-intercept. So slope has to be your thing that's changing. That's why it's called the rate of change. So every day we have $2, and then 2 more dollars make $4 in the bank, and 2 more dollars makes $6 in the bank. But we started with that $4 to begin with, so that's the y-intercept. Let's look at another example. This one talks about a lawn care company charges $55 to fertilize a lawn plus. $15 for each bag of fertilizer it uses. So again, we have to determine which one is the slope and which one is the y-intercept. So the lawn care company charges $15. So they charge $15 for the lawn. Then what's the one changing? $15 for each bag, right? So my slope has to be the $15 because that can change. I could use 1 bag, 2 bags, 3 bags, depending on our lawn, okay? So if we have the meaning of slope, that means for every 1 bag of fertilizer, I will pay $15. Okay, so that's the meaning. Then we want to know what the y-intercept was. Well, no matter how much fertilizer I use, they charge me $15 just to do my lawn. Okay, so no matter what, I'm going to pay, $55. So no matter what, I'm going to pay $55. That's part of the lawn cost. So here, no matter how many bags of fertilizer I have, I'm going to pay $55. Okay, so for the y-intercept, the $55 is the cost of the lawn care, plus whatever however many bags of fertilizer I'm going to need. Okay, so let's look at this in a different perspective here, which we're going to do in class tomorrow. I'm hoping this didn't mess that up. Okay, so we're back to the same problem. So my equation here is, remember, our linear functions was y equals mx plus b. M is your slope or your rate, b is your y-intercept. So we already determined that our slope needs to be $15 because that's going to depend on how many bags of fertilizer I have. But no matter what, I'm going to pay $55 because that's what it costs from them to get out here. So we've been talking about dependent and independent variables, okay? So we're figuring out y is the cost of what it's going to charge to do my lawn. So I have to know that's $15 per bag. I need to know how many bags there are going to be. Then I have to get charged $55 for the lawn care to come out here. So my cost is dependent on the number of bags that we're going to use. So if we go over here, my dependent variable, is going to be the cost. That's dependent on how many bags of fertilizer I have. Because if I have one bag, then my cost would be, put in a 1 here, and that would be $70. But if it's 2 bag, my cost changes. It depends on the bag. So if I put 2 in here, that's 30 plus 55, that's $85, and so on. Okay? So that's why the cost is the dependent and the bags of fertilizer is the independent. They're $15 no matter what, and that doesn't change. Okay? Now, we're writing these in functional notation. Okay? So for our purposes, instead of y, we would write the cost of the lawn. So you could use, or cost of the independent variables are going to be the bags, so we could use b. So remember, we're going to put c of b here. And so then this would be 15 times b plus 55. So now it's in functional notation. Okay? All right. And if you look over at our graph, our y-intercept is 55. Because even if I don't have any bags of fertilizer, I have to pay $55 no matter what. And then it'll increase. So if I had 1 bag, that would be, what did we say, that was 70. So we'd have a here. And if I had 2 bags, I plugged in 2 here, and that would give me 85, right? I think I did, I got that in the wrong spot, sorry. 2 bags here, right? And so on. So that's what we need to recognize. The y-intercept is the cost without the slope. It's just the straight costs. Okay? All right, so we wrote that in functional notation just a moment ago. So we said that is the cost of the lawn with the bags of fertilizer. So we said that's 15 times the number of bags plus 55. So on your homework on Wednesday night, you're going to have to come up with that equation, and then you're going to have to plug in. So this one says, how much would the total cost be for 6 bags of fertilizer? So we would just plug in for that. Hopefully as time goes on, I'll get better with this. I know my writing is atrocious. Okay, so 15 times 6, and then plus 55. Okay? And that would be the cost of my lawn care. Then you can do the converse, where it says the total bill was 160. How many bags of fertilizer were used? Well, now they gave us the total, or the cost. So that's going to go in for my cost here. And then I have to figure out what B is, or the bags. And we did this a little bit in class, where you have to solve for B. Okay. Good enough? So hopefully this will help you tomorrow when we're going over what slope is, what y-intercept is. We'll have to put equations in functional notation, and then we'll have to plug in for different parts of those equations.